Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tirtha Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tirtha Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Te Shantatha Gato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Te Shantatha Gato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Te Shantatha Gato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Okay, let's turn to this book. Let's turn to page 3, page 6, stanza 38. Okay. Page 6, stanza 38. Okay, we will discuss the following some of the following stanzas. It reads, one who sees how cause and effect are produced and destroyed, does not regard the world as really existent or really non-existent. Okay, so let's say page 6, Precious Garland, page 6, stanza 38. Page 6, stanza 38.
It's a different, I think.
Okay.
Page 31.
Okay, page 31 or page 38. Just see. Some of you have page 31, some of you are on page 38. Okay, stanza 38.
Page 31.
Okay, page 31, stanza 38. Okay, whereas the book that I have is on page 6, stanza 38. You got it? Everyone got it? Okay. One who sees how cause and effect are produced and destroyed does not regard the world as really existent or really non-existent. Let's say, when you see the cause effect, how the cause and effect are produced, when how one sees cause and effect are produced and destroyed, meaning when the results are produced, the cause is destroyed, meaning that when the apple seed gives rise to apple tree, and the apple tree comes into a production, apple tree is produced. When the apple tree is produced, the apple seed should be destroyed, meaning that the apple seed will not be there anymore, right? Because the apple seed changes into apple tree. So the apple seed is destroyed in the sense that it is no more there. Okay, when you understand this so well, and as we discussed this earlier session, that this is what? Which level of dependent origination? First level of dependent origination. When you see that the result comes into being, but depends on the causes, and the result is produced, and the cause is destroyed or disintegrate or disappears. So this is cause-effect dependent origination. So with this, on this basis, we are able to link it to the emptiness. Then you see what? The cause and effect, when you go into these, what is the cause? What is the effect? What is the transition? Cause, effect. The cause in the form of the seed is also made of atoms. Effect in the form of the apple tree is also made of atoms. Right? When you go into atomic level, which is the cause, which is the effect, even the tree dissolves, the seed dissolves. Right? So by seeing the cause-effect relationship, you're able to link to the emptiness of the cause-effect. Emptiness cause-effect. Then what it says, does not regard the world as really existent or really non-existent. Okay, let's say, now with this ultimate analysis, when you go into ultimate analysis of the world, what happens? What happens to the world? The world terminates. In that experience, the world exists with the conventional analysis, but it does not exist with the ultimate analysis. When you subject the world to the ultimate analysis, then in this experience, nothing really exists. Meaning, the world does not exist. Existence of the world makes no sense. Non-existence of the world also does not make any sense. Right? In this experience. Because in the ultimate domain, what exists? Nothing exists. In the ultimate domain, existence of the world exists? No. Non-existence of the world exists? No. Nothing really exists there in this ultimate domain. So, does not regard the world as really existent or really non-existent, where in this ultimate domain, when you subject the world to ultimate analysis. You're getting it? Okay. Stanza 39. One who has heard thus the doctrine extinguishing all suffering. So in this experience, existence of the world, non-existent of the world, all dissolve. And what about your suffering? Suffering also dissolves. One who has heard thus, heard in a proper way. When something is subject to the ultimate analysis, everything dissolves. Thus the doctrine extinguishing all suffering. So in this experience, right? In this experience, what? When you subject the suffering to this experience, this ultimate analysis, what happens to the suffering? Suffering also disappears. Okay. The extinguishing, the suffering is extinguished, meaning suffering does not exist in this experience, right? Suffering does not exist. Okay, all suffering, but does not examine it, whereas the suffering, when it's subject to ultimate analysis, it simply is extinguished, meaning it does not exist. It does not exist. Whereas if you don't subject this to ultimate analysis, then you have to go to the which analysis? Conventional analysis. From the conventional analysis, when you look at the suffering, it is very scary. Yes, no? Right? It doesn't disappear. It's very scary. But does not examine it. Does not examine it, meaning does not subject it to ultimate examination, ultimate analysis, and fears. Then you have the fear of the suffering. In actuality, it is a fearless state. Right? It is a fear what? Absence of suffering is a fearless state. In this ultimate domain, the suffering dissolves. It does not. There's no basis to create fear in you. The fear dissolves. They say Look at this flower. The same flower, group A and group B. When group A through conventional analysis, group B through ultimate analysis. When group A looks at it, you see as a flower. When group B looks at it, you see as a absence of a flower, emptiness of a flower, right? So these two things, is it the same object or the different objects? Same object seen in two different ways. Likewise, the suffering seen from the conventional analysis and the ultimate analysis. From the conventional analysis, you see this is suffering is very scary. From the ultimate analysis, you see the emptiness of the suffering. Suffering dissolves. So it is totally fearless. Whereas with conventional analysis, it is so much of fear. It creates fear. Right? Okay. In actuality, it is a fearless state. Why it is seen as in a state of fear? Because you subject this to conventional analysis. What is conventional analysis? From distance you look at it, right? From distance you look at it, your mind creates the fear there. Your subjective mind creates that. You don't go into the object, right? Okay. So what is the fearless state? You start to fear because you don't subject this to ultimate analysis, because you don't have the experience for emptiness. So if you really want to have if you look at the suffering, but you want to see the suffering as a fearless state, how should you do? You should subject the suffering to ultimate analysis. Then you see that there's nothing to be afraid of. Okay. The suffering but does not examine it and fears the fearless state trembles due to ignorance. So in actuality, it's the emptiness of suffering. And then through your distance conventional analysis, you see this as a suffering. Because of suffering, then you start to fear and you start trembling. This trembling is because the ignorance. This ignorance is creating the suffering there, and then you start trembling. You're getting it? This is a very precious piece of the teaching from Nagarjuna. Okay. Now, stanza 14. That all these will not exist in nirvana does not frighten you. Right? Why does the non-existent explained here cause you fright? Okay, so now this is stanza 40 is particularly, if you could remember what we discussed about, say, what is the precise version, what is the exact version, what is the exact the understanding, say, as presented by Vaibhashika, as present Prasangika. So they present in two different ways. So which should we trust? Which of the two is accurate? This is our question, right? So, stanza 40, it was a dialogue, more like a debate between Prasangika, Madhyamikas, and the Vaibhashikas, stanza 40. So, Vaibhashikas, what they say is that when somebody achieves nirvana is of two kinds. One is with remainder and nirvana without remainder. Say, today, okay, nobody here is going to achieve nirvana. Everybody is going to achieve Buddhahood, I know. Right? Here is very different. We are in Lama Selingba's place. Okay, so I'm so happy to hear from Jimbala that I didn't hear this before. Lama Selingba was actually a prince, and because of which he had a very strong influence. And then, of course, a great bodhisattva, right? Bodhisattvas, at times, they take the form of the prince. This is what oftentimes happens. So this is what I learned. And we came here because being attracted by Lama Selingba in his very holy land, Jambi, Indonesia, Jambi. So no doubt, we're not going to, go into the personal nirvana. So imagine there is another person who just goes into, who achieves, who happened to be around us, and then that person was meditating just solely for the personal liberation. And then, by the time you were experiencing Bodhicitta, that person is experiencing nirvana, right? Say, achieves nirvana. Now, when that person achieves nirvana in the deep state of the samadhi, nirvana. Okay, the person already at the nirvana, achieved nirvana. Nirvana means what? The person has eradicated. Okay, tell me. When does a person initially achieves nirvana? Huh? Very good. The moment you eliminate the self-grasping ignorance from root, the moment you eliminate the self-grasping ignorance from its root, then you achieve nirvana, right? So, that moment, the first time you eliminate self-grasping ignorance, which state you are in? You are in a samadhi state. You are in a profound non-dual wisdom of emptiness state, in that state, right? So in that state, same, you are in a meditative state and you achieve nirvana. So in that experience of the nirvana, do you still have the physical body? And the physical body is pure or impure? The same impure body, right? Same defective body you have. And this body, why defective? Why this body is prone to cancer, or prone to this problem, that problem, have the diarrhea and so forth? Why? Because this body is defective, which we got from the defective, the substance from the parents. So this body is the continuum of the substance from the parents. So this is the continuum. So this body is very defective. While mentally you have already cleansed the self-grasping ignorance. So mentally you have achieved nirvana, but physically you still have the contamination. You are getting it? So which means that the nirvana that you have achieved still has the remainder of the contaminated body. So nirvana with remainder, meaning nirvana, achieving of which you achieve it and you still have the contaminated body left with you. That is the nirvana with remainder. Whereas the same, so this person is known as arahat. Arahat. The moment you exterminate the self-grasping ignorance, you achieve nirvana and you are known as the arahat. The quality that you achieved is known as nirvana and you are known as the arahat. Right? Okay. Now this arahat has the physical, still has the contaminated physical body. So this contaminated physical body, because it's contaminated, the nirvana that this arahat has is known as nirvana with remainder. Now, this arahat, the moment he or she leaves the body, in other words, in simple terms, in the ordinary people's, in the parlance of ordinary people, we call it death. Right? To leave the body. For us, it is more like a death. For them, it's like leaving the body. Right? Okay, leaving the old clothes. Okay, so when the moment this arahat leaves the body, then the nirvana is always with that arahat. Nirvana is always with that arahat. So the moment the arahat leaves the body, that nirvana becomes freed of the contaminated body. Freed of the remainder contaminated body. So that is known as the nirvana without remainder. You're getting it? Okay, now say, according to Vaibhashika, the arahat, when he dies, he leaves the body, he or she leaves the body, and the mind, what happens to the mind? Mind disappears, according to Vaibhashika. So this is something which Prasangika cannot accept. They leave the body, and the mind disappears like the rainbow in the sky. Rainbow disappears, right? The cloud is formed, the cloud disappears in the sky. Likewise, the mind disappears. In other words, the mind discontinues. So that is known as the nirvana without remainder, right? Okay. Now, this is the basic philosophy, Vaibhashika's philosophy, that when you achieve the nirvana without remainder, then not only you leave the body also, discard, meaning the mind disappears. Okay, so what happens to the five aggregates when you die? When the arahat dies, what happens to five aggregates? The five aggregates disappear. The body is left behind. Body is burned, the cremated or the buried or whatever. The body is discarded, and the mind disappears. So when the mind disappears, all the remaining four composite facts, the remaining four aggregates also disappear. Aggregate form, the form is left behind. Feeling, discrimination, composite factors, consciousness, they all disappear. Now what is left? Nothing is left there. So nirvana without remainder is just a label. Actually the person disappears. Okay, this is their philosophy. Now the contradiction with the Vaibhashikas is that when the Madhyamikas or the Prasangika, okay, some of you Some of you may be thinking, what is this Madhyamika, Prasangika, Vaibhashika? Right? Say something, whichever is the best one. Just say this, and don't talk about too many things, Vaibhashika. Right? Okay, for the timing is a little complicated. I understand this, don't worry. Right? I promise you one thing, right? Don't worry. Don't worry means there's hope. What is the hope? You listen to the recordings once more. You listen to the recording once more, you will really enjoy this, right? Oh, now Vaibhashika, it makes sense, okay. Now it's interesting, what is the position of Sautanya Madhyamika? Then you will ask, right? You will ask, okay. So this is what is bound to happen. Don't underestimate your potential. Simply because you are more into this technical philosophy for the first time, you may feel a little lost. It doesn't matter. This happens to everyone, including myself. I shared my experience with you earlier, right? When I was first studying the Abhidhamma course, the first teacher was going to such a detailed, meticulous explanation, and the students were asking questions, the teacher was giving response, the teacher was throwing questions, the students were giving. Then I could not follow anything. I thought that, okay, now my intelligence has gone zero now. I'm not really for this. And then still I didn't give up. The next time another teacher was giving the same teaching. The second teaching was just browsing through so fast. Just explaining the root text and not really going through the commentaries so fast. And literally I could follow most of them so easily. Then I realized it's not because the second teacher is more skilled in teaching, because second teacher is going so fast, right? And the first teacher is just going through such a detailed explanation. It's because what I've learned during the first teaching, which I did not realize that I was learning. Right? I learned a lot, but I did not realize I was learning a lot. And then the second teacher teaching, all what I have learned, they got activated. And then the second teacher teaching, I could able to imbibe. Okay, likewise, the first teaching, you may think that I didn't learn anything. What is the Vaibhashika? What is this Prasangika? All this. Just why not he teaches something direct? Something which is direct. Whatever the Buddha says, just go that. How the Buddha achieved enlightenment. He did not go through Vaibhashika, Prasangika like this. Be very direct, right? Some of you might have thought like this. Okay, what I'm saying, don't underestimate your potential. And some of you, while you maybe think like this, but at the same time you do admit that there are people who are so good at it. So keep in mind that they are good at it, not because that they are gifted. They are like Ira Manjushri is the manifestation. If Ira Manjushri manifestation, they would not come to listen to me, right? Including myself, we all go through the phases, different phases. So then this second time you listen to it, you will see that, oh, I understand. Yes. Oh, that's not really difficult. Why did I find it so difficult during the retreat? Okay, this kind of feeling come to you. Never underestimate yourself. Be kind to yourself by giving the second chance. Listen to the recording once more, right? And you will surely enjoy this. Okay, with this, what I'm saying is now the contradiction is there with the Vaibhashika. On the one hand, Vaibhashika, they are saying that when you achieve nirvana without remainder, your body and your mind all disappear. The person disappears. And then they see that this is the philosophy, this is the ultimate, this is the reality. And they are not afraid of it. They are not afraid to say that when I achieve the nirvana without remainder, my body will be discarded and my mind will annihilate, right? And they are not afraid of this. While when the Madhyamika is saying that in the ultimate domain nothing exists, they feel so scared, right? Madhyamika is not saying that nothing exists. They say that in the ultimate domain nothing exists. In the conventional domain everything exists. In the ultimate domain, nothing exists. When the Madhyamikas say this, Vaibhashika, they feel so scared. What are you saying? Right? Okay, so in fact, there was once, what happened was that there was some group of monks who were chanting Heart Sutra, where it says, form is empty, empty is the form. Form is not, then eyes are empty, nose, ear, everything empty. Then some people who are following the Vaibhashika tradition, right, not nowadays, in the past, many years ago, more than many years, maybe centuries ago, Right? Some people who are following purely Vaibhashika, they hearing the Heart Sutra, people reciting Heart Sutra, we said there's no ear, eye, nose, and there's no earth, what? Earth, water, fire, air, there's no the truth of suffering, cause of suffering, like this. Then they blocked the ears, they started running away. They're so afraid to hear that. Because minor followers meaning those people who go into the Bodhisattva, the tradition, they said that this is taught by the Buddha. If that is taught by the Buddha, it's very scary. Then there's no eye, ear, there's no self, there's nothing there. It's very scary. So they close their ears, they run away, right? Because of the fear. So now, Arya Nagarjuna is saying that this is contradiction. On the one hand, you say that when you achieve nirvana without remainder, your mind disappears and you're not afraid. You disappear, you're not afraid. But in the ultimate domain, nothing exists, you're so scared. This is contradiction. Stanza 40. That all these will not exist in nirvana. Which nirvana? Nirvana without remainder. It does not frighten you. This is your philosophy. It does not frighten you. Why does their non-existence in the ultimate domain, explained here meaning, explained here as in the ultimate domain, cause you fright? Right? So this is a contradiction being pointed to. Do you understand it? Stanza 40. That all these will not exist. That all these meaning, the person, the mind, and so forth, will not exist in nirvana without remainder, does not frighten you. You say that this is the truth, this is reality, this is my philosophy. And if this is, if you're not frightened that the self will disappear at the time of the nirvana without remainder, why are you frightened when I say that in the ultimate domain the self does not exist? Why does it frighten you? Why does their non-existence, why does their referring to the self, the mind and these things, non-existence, explained here, explained where? Explained in the ultimate domain, right? This explanation, why should it cause you fright? Why should it cause you fear? Okay. Okay, so okay, let's say page 20, stanza 25. Go to the earlier stanza, stanza 25. What we mentioned earlier, let's see. The doctrines of definite goodness. Definite goodness means either Buddhahood or Nirvana. The doctrines, the teachings meant to take you to the definite goodness, such as Nirvana and Buddhahood, are said by the conqueror to be the conqueror. Conqueror meaning the Buddha. Buddha said that the teaching which will take you to definite goodness, Nirvana and Buddhahood, they are very deep. Deep meaning they are very profound. They are very subtle. They're deep, subtle, and also very frightening. Right? Okay, this is what we have been discussing for the last all the 11 days. That experience of emptiness is going to be a little scary, right? We have been talking about this a lot. So it says here, to be deep, subtle, and frightening. To the childish, frightening to whom? To the childish who are not learned, who are not exposed to this understanding. So that is very frightening, right? Okay. Then the 26, I am not, I will not be. I have not, I will not have. That frightens all the childish and extinguishes fear in the wise. This experience, I'm not, I will not be. I'm not my aggregates. I will not be my aggregates. I don't have my objectively existent aggregates. I don't have objectively existent aggregates. And I will not have objectively existent aggregates, right? I have and I am not. These are two different things. I am not objectively existent person. I have no objectively existent aggregates. So these two things, I'm not, I will not be. I have not, I will not have. So these two things is in the context of the ultimate domain, right? In the ultimate domain. So this concept that frightens all the childish. This concept will no doubt frighten the childish, meaning people who are least exposed to this philosophy of emptiness. When they really get a glimpse of this experience, it really frightens them. Whereas the same experience will extinguish the fear in the wise. Right? In the wise meaning who have a thorough understanding of this concept, who have a thorough understanding of the ultimate reality. For them, this experience of emptiness will relieve them of all the fears. How? The actual fear is what? Fear of samsara. This fear of samsara, all the fears, they arise from self-grasping ignorance. And because of the very thorough experience of the emptiness of objectivity, this experience, they see that this experience exterminates the self-grasping ignorance. And because of which, all the fear, they dissolve. For the wise beings. For the childish meaning who are not exposed to this philosophy, right? The moment they get the glimpse of this experience, it frightens them. For the wise, it dissolves the fear. For the childish, it creates fear, right? Okay, so we should be, how should we be wise then? We should be exposed to this philosophy, this teaching, more and more often. Okay, so we'll stop this one here. Okay, we will do one or two questions and we'll stop here. Okay, there's one question here. It says, how do we balance practice and study? Okay, how do we balance practice and study? Very good question. Okay, keep in mind that in gati paragati parasamgati bore soham. So this is the mark of our journey. This is the final mark of a journey. And this journey, as we undertake this journey, keep in mind that this journey has to be undertaken with the help of in three processes. By means of, we have to use the intelligence, we have to use the wisdom. So the wisdom which we're going to employ for this journey is of three kinds. The wisdom derived through learning, the wisdom derived through learning, wisdom derived through reflection, wisdom derived through meditation. This is the only way. There's no shortcut. Wisdom derived through learning, wisdom derived through reflection, and the wisdom derived through meditation. 3, right? Now the question is how to balance practice and study. How to balance practice and study. When we have nothing to meditate, right? We have nothing to meditate, don't practice. Because to practice we have to something to practice. And we have nothing there. Right? So for the practice we need the materials to practice. And the materials will be prepared by learning. So initially when we are beginners, we should emphasize on the reflection of learning. The wisdom of learning. Wisdom derived through study, so the learning, these are the same. Wisdom derived through the study. The emphasis should be on the study or the learning. That is so important. Particularly, say, some of you taking the ABC modules, 9 modules, and some of you going for the bliss and wisdom, the Lamrim the teaching, and some of you doing the Narada Master's course, and then attending, say, the TBC, Lamrim teaching. These are all so precious. These all fall under the category of the wisdom derived through learning. This is so precious. Okay, once you start getting something, once you get some information, some learning takes place, then keep learning more. Don't feel complacent with whatever you've learned. Don't feel complacent. Keep learning more. Keep learning. In the process, you then include the wisdom derived through reflection, right? What I've learned, whether they hold true or not, you have to subject them to analysis. This is very important. Very important, you subject them to analysis. So that is wisdom derived through reflection. Right? Now, as you get a little hold of the reflection and more of the learning, as you get a little hold of the reflection, once you get a little, at least some flavor of, okay, emptiness, that's true. Something what appears to me, it doesn't really exist the way it appears to me, right? When you get a glimpse of that, then bring in the third one, wisdom derived through meditation. Then start the meditation. So now the practice, all three are practice. The practice of learning, the practice of reflection, the practice of meditation. All three are practice. Now when you speak about the practice versus the study, that practice is the practice in the context of the reflection and meditation. Right? Otherwise, even the study itself, in the process of the study, already some degree of transformation is taking place within you. Because those people who are deeply into studies may not be into the reflection as yet. These people, as I said earlier, will never become terrorists. Right? Because they're so convinced. This conviction they got from the studies. So even the study is so precious. Now, when within yourself, when you see that there's study happening, learning happening, you start to learn more and more and more. This is so precious. When somebody else is doing that, rejoice. And you are doing it, rejoice. Meanwhile, for you, start incorporating reflection. What is the difference between the reflection and the studies? Studies is like, for example, say, I learned from mathematics teacher, say when I was very young, maybe age 5 or 6, there, right? Say my mathematics teachers would ask us to memorize the multiplication table. Multiplication table of 2 was easy for me. 2 was not a problem. 3 was a struggle for me, right? And the next day teacher said, okay, Dorji, you have to recite this table by heart. Multiplication of 3. Okay, Dorji, what is 3 into 3 ones are? That is easy, 3. 3 ones are 3. What is 3 into 2? Then my fingers become so busy, right? My fingers will go back. I was just 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old. My fingers become very busy out there, right? So say my fingers is here. Then my teacher said, what is 3 into 2? 3 ones are 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Right? 6. And my teacher is happy. Now what is 3 into 3? 6 plus 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? Okay. So this I learned from my teacher. Not that I know how 3 into 3 equals 9. I didn't know that. I learned it. I just emulate. I just repeat. I just ape. I just copied. Right? I don't know how 3 into 3 is 9. I don't know. I did not know. I did not have any clue of that. Right? Okay, so that is wisdom derived. Is it correct? When I said 3 into 3 equals 9, is it correct? That is correct. But do I really know how 3 equals 3? I didn't know this. But the information is correct. And that information, where I'm not convinced of myself, that is known as the wisdom derived through learning. Now, when will it become wisdom derived through reflection? Reflection is, okay, why 3 equals 3? Why 3 into 3 is 9? Why? Right? I keep asking. Then one day, the shopkeeper, I asked, I need 3 apples. And how much is the 1 apple? The shopkeeper says, $3. Okay. Then how much should I pay? Right? He says, $9. How? 1 apple, 3 rupees, $3. Give me $3. He put it there. The next apple, you give me another $3. Put it there. How much? 6. Now, third apple, give me $3. How much? Now, wow, it's amazing. 3 apples into $3 is $9. It's amazing. Wow. Right? Now, I got it. Now, what is 3 into 4? 12. What is 3 into 5? 15. I got it. Right? So now I don't have to check with anyone. I got it. Now this information is no more the information of my teacher, it's now my own information. I know it. through my conviction. So the first conviction that I get is known as the wisdom derived through reflection. You're getting it? Wisdom derived through reflection. Now, in what way would you distinguish between the wisdom derived through reflection and the wisdom derived through meditation? How would you distinguish the two? This is, again, another point. So, what for the meditation is required in order to counteract our negative emotions? In order to counteract our negative emotions. And what is the nature of the negative emotions? Negative emotions, they are so intense and they're so spontaneous, right? Now, the counter force. What is the counter force of the negative emotions? What is counter force of negative emotions? The wisdom of emptiness. So now the wisdom of emptiness as well should be as intense and as spontaneous, right? Okay, now how to make the wisdom of emptiness so spontaneous and so intense? This is the question, right? Okay, let's see. How many of you know the simple mathematics? 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 1, 5. How many of you this? I will not give you complicated the problems. I'll give you very simple problems. How many of you know that? You want to do it? Do it. Okay, don't verbally say this. Just matter do it and give me the answer. 2 plus 1. Don't say it. Mental do it and tell me later on. 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 minus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3. What's the answer? Very good. Okay. Now do it again. Do it again. I will not give you complicated anymore. I'll give you as simple as what I did earlier. 2 plus 2 plus 2 minus 4 minus 2. 2 plus 1 minus 2 plus 4. What's the answer? No answer. Why no answer? Because it's going so fast. Because it's going so fast. While the mathematical calculation is the same, but your mind cannot be as fast as what I'm saying. You cannot do the calculation as fast. Why not fast? Because you learn something and you stop there. I know this. And then you don't exercise it more. If you exercise more, then it becomes very spontaneous and intense. So, after gaining this confidence about mathematics, if you want to make it so spontaneous, so fast, what should we do? You should exercise this so often. You're getting it? Likewise, the wisdom of emptiness, once you get it 100%, earlier, you learn that, everything is illusion-like, there's nothing existing objectively. You learn this. This is wisdom of learning, right? Wisdom of learning. And then somebody asks, how do you know that things are the empty of objective existence? Because things are impermanent, right? This is a hopeless answer. Because things are impermanent. Impermanence even the Vaibhashika knows. Impermanence even the Vaibhashikas knows, right? But Vaibhashikas, they are arguing that emptiness does not make sense. Impermanence makes sense. Emptiness doesn't make sense. This is what the Vaibhashika is saying. And you are saying that, things are empty of, these things are all the empty of objectivity because they're impermanent. So this is a hopeless answer. Although you know the words so properly, but you don't have the conviction within. So the moment you gain the conviction, yes, 100% is true that what I'm seeing, things are so objectively, these are all empty, right? The moment you get this conviction, at that point you have upgraded yourself from the reflection, from the learning to the reflection through, the wisdom through learning to the wisdom through reflection. And then, say when you meditate emptiness, right, it is not spontaneous coming. It is not spontaneous coming. To make it spontaneous, you have to practice over and over and over again of the conviction that you already gained. So this repeating of the conviction that the repeating of the wisdom of emptiness, the conviction which you already gained, that repetition is known as the wisdom derived through meditation. So because of this repetition, what happens? Then the experience of emptiness becomes so spontaneous and intense. Spontaneous. More important at this stage is the spontaneity. When you gain the spontaneity of the experience of the emptiness, then it becomes the wisdom derived through meditation. Within the meditation, again, there are various levels. Gate. The second gate, you already have the wisdom derived through meditation, but that wisdom derived through meditation and wisdom derived through meditation during the paragati and parasamgati is very different. Because wisdom derived through the meditation during the second gati is still in the conceptual experience. Whereas from the paragati at the beyond, it becomes non-dual experience. Wisdom derived through meditation, but not on the conceptual, but non-dual. So there's a difference there. Okay, so this is now the point. Which, having understood this, having said this, now the balance between the practice and the study is that initially emphasize more on these studies, because we have to gather the materials. Emphasize more on these studies instead of the practice. Okay, whatever you have, say the sadhana and so forth, the commitment that you have already accepted, they've already taken, we can't do anything. That we have to do. Otherwise, emphasize more on the studies. Then, once you get enough material of the studies, then you subject them to analysis more, reflection more. Keep studying, but the reflection must be introduced. Keep studying more. Particularly with the emptiness, you have to keep studying more. More the studies, the nuances you'll be able to tease apart. You can tease apart the nuances, because the emptiness involves tremendous nuances there. Okay, with this, once you get a conviction that what I'm seeing is not really the way it exists, things don't exist the way they appear to me. Once you're 100% sure, when you gain this conviction, then you spend time on the meditation practice more while keep learning, and then when you become okay, I know this text, I know that text, yes, this is so. When you are you get some degree of command and expertise in the various sources, the most authentic sources, then you can emphasize more on the practice, because somehow we have only 24 hours a day, right? 24 hours a day, and then sometime you have to spend for the commitments and so forth. And then you also have a little bit of job. You also have to go for your daily chores, right? The food and the sleep, all these things are there. So with this, the time is very limited. Whatever time there, then you spend more on the practice, right? And the remaining time you go for studies and reflection, right? Initially, focus more on the studies, and less on the actual practice, because we have nothing to practice actually, right? Because there's no material there. So once your study becomes a little rich, then spend more time on the study, keep studying, and dedicate a little bit of time on the reflection, to subject what you studied to analysis, reflection, and into a little bit of practice. Then as you gain more confidence in the studies, okay, now study-wise, okay, this book, I know these are very standard books, I know these things, right? But whenever his son gives teachings on emptiness and this, and make sure that you are there because his son's experience is very different, right? Very different, very profound. So yes, make sure that you are there. And so unlike what I'm teaching, what his son's teaching is going to be very profound, very different. So make sure that you don't miss those things. One. Then the next part is, then you say, when you really gain some, command and expertise in the studies, and then you are very sure, okay, now I see that, okay, now I need more time to really internalize, and because I'm really confident that how things appear to me, they are all deceptive. They don't exist everywhere. But it is not coming spontaneous. Now I have to make it spontaneous. Then you subject, I need more time for meditation. Then you spend more time in meditation. Meanwhile, keep reading then sutras. Keep reading sutras. The sutras on emptiness. Right? So, for the time being, what we did, we started with the other texts, and then slowly went into Nagarjuna's text, Ajahn Chandrakirti's text, Nagarjuna's text, and then you gain some command over this, and then you start to include reflection and meditation. So with this, then you gain some degree of stability that, okay, now I really need time for more practice, because now I'm very confident what exactly is gate gate paragate, right? So how to really take me to gate? I'm really confident. Okay, now I need more time. So there, then you spend more time on the studies, and then the text you read should be more the sutras, because the commentaries like Nagarjuna's text, and these are so precious, but there's no harm in reading these teachings as well. They are so precious, they can really invigorate. In other words, keep reading something of emptiness every day, right? Keep reading, even though you already reached to that level. For example, His Holiness, oftentimes he deliberately tell the audience, that I'm already in my 80s, still I'm reading the text, which means that invigorates already the experience that you have. These are being invigorated by the constant touch with the reading of these materials, because these materials are written by the Buddha and the fully enlightened beings like Nagarjuna and so forth. So how they present it will really invigorate our experience. Okay, this is how we balance the practice in sutra. Okay, so we'll stop here. When shall we begin with the soul offering right away, or short break? Up to you. Huh? Short break. Okay, let's say 15 minutes or 10 minutes break. Okay, 10 minutes break, quick.